Hello, it's Monday again. Whew, that flew by. That went really quick. But I am back for another story. And I'm gonna just quickly make sure that my phone doesn't make any of those buzzing noises. There we go. Not that I'm usually that popular, but there we go. Welcome to another story. This time our story is from Nigeria, and it is about how the tortoise got his crooked shell. Because if you've ever looked at a tortoise's shell, you might see that they've got lots and lots of sort of bumps to them, haven't they? And when you feel a tortoise's shell, it's a little bit bumpy, and I think there's an interesting story behind that, and that's what we're going to explore today. So just as we start, I'm going to type in hi in the comments, because that brings up my comment section. There we go. And now I can see that Jackie's already said hello. Fantastic. So I would like you to write the word food into the comments. The word food into the comments, because that's very important today. So if you're watching, just a quick type, write the word food in the comments, and we'll see how quickly I get that message from you, and that will determine just how many questions I ask you and all sorts of things like that. So if you are watching, type food into the comments below, and that will just help me out. And whilst you're typing food into the comments below, I am just going to tell you as well that I do have an Instagram page that I'm very kind of on at the moment, which is at Rachael the Small, and I sort of talked about it on there, but I'm actually thinking of doing some more of this as well out there, and putting it out there for you to access. So if there are things that you're interested in that I do, then do let me know, and I can talk to Creative Distance Fest as well about doing that with them. So fantastic. And I've seen some food. Amazing. That's great. So I am going to tell you a story that involves food today, so welcome. And our story is about how our tortoise got his crooked shell. You see, a really long time ago, tortoise's shell was round and smooth. It was round and smooth. No bumps to it whatsoever. Now that sounds strange to us, but back then that was normal for a tortoise to have a round and smooth shell. And this tortoise was in the middle of a terrible famine. So that meant that there wasn't a lot of food around to share. There wasn't a lot of food around at all. And tortoise was so hungry all the time, and so was his family. Now, some people and some animals in the animal kingdom, they decided that they would share their food, and they would make sure that it was fair and everyone got a little bit. But tortoise was very cunning, and he often liked to lie and trick people into giving him extra food. I know. It's very, very naughty of him, but that's what he liked to do. So tortoise would come up with lies, and he would say things like, "Oh no, I am very sick and I need extra food to make sure that I feel better again." And then the animals would give him extra food, and he'd get more food to eat than the other animals. Now, this went on for a long time, and a lot of people were getting a bit smarter about tortoise and his cunning ways. They realised that tortoise wasn't always telling the truth, and so they started to leave him out they wouldn't share their food with him. And this put Tortoise and his family in a very difficult place because they were so hungry all the time. And Tortoise decided he needed to come up with a plan. He was going to go and scavenge for some food for his family. And he was walking slowly, like a tortoise does, through the forest. And he was thinking and dreaming of all those delicious foods that he liked to eat. What's Tortoise's favourite food, I wonder? What do tortoises like to eat? I wonder. Perhaps you could type below. What do tortoises like to eat? Perhaps you could type below what sort of things tortoise might like to eat. I wonder. If I was a tortoise, well, I know one thing that tortoises like to eat because my sister has a tortoise and he really, really likes dandelions from the garden. I know it's great because he gets rid of all the dandelions in the garden. So every now and again my sister will chop off a little bit of dandelion and feed it to him. So maybe Tortoise was looking for dandelions. I wonder what other food he could be looking for. Type it down below. What other food could Tortoise be looking for? So he was walking slowly through that forest and he was looking this way and that way and he was looking for leafy green things, like Jackie said, leafy green things. Oh, he could just imagine them in his head, that nice crunch that he got when he bit into them. And Imi said cabbage and lettuce. Oh my goodness, that's so good for you as well. I love salad and so does Tortoise. Oh, he could imagine those crunchy bits of lettuce. Oh, it was making his tummy really rumble. He was so hungry. And he carried on walking. Just then, he saw a pair of ears. Oh my goodness. And it was Rabbit. And Rabbit was bouncing along with loads of energy. In fact, Rabbit's tummy looked very full and his eyes looked really bright and he looked so happy. How come Rabbit is so happy and full looking when everyone else is hungry? Tortoise felt a little bit jealous, but he thought maybe Rabbit was the answer to his problems. And so he went over to Rabbit and said, "Rabbit, why do you look so full?" "Ah," said Rabbit, "I have eaten today. I am very, very blessed." "Rabbit," said Tortoise, "would you mind sharing some of your delicious food with me?" Oh, Rabbit remembered that Tortoise was very cunning and sometimes lied, and maybe he'd already had his share of food. He started to look a little bit concerned. Tortoise quickly came up with some lies. "Oh, you see, I have so many children, and my wife is expecting another child, and oh, I'm so sick as well, and so is she, and I need to look after her, and I can't look after her if I'm sick. I need some food so that I can look after the family." Well, Rabbit was a very, very kind person, and so he decided to show Tortoise where he was getting his food from. Okay then, follow me and I will show you where we can get some food. And off he hopped, and Tortoise followed him as quickly as he could behind. And they went through the forest, and as they were going through the forest, Tortoise was imagining those leafy greens, those lovely cabbages and lettuces, and thinking of all the other foods that he could eat, when all of a sudden Rabbit stopped at a clearing in the forest, a big empty space, and there was a pond. And over the pond, Rabbit cleared his voice and sung a very special song. Now I'm going to sing it, but I'm no singer like Rabbit, so do bear with me. But he sung, "Ya ya takun wale o ilujan jan kijan, ya ya takun wale o ilujan jan kijan." And after he sung, a big, thin rope hung down from the clouds above. And Rabbit grabbed hold of the rope and started to climb up. Tortoise was very curious, and he grabbed hold of the rope as well and followed Rabbit all the way up until they reached the clouds. And in the clouds they saw a pair of big, fluffy feet. It was Rabbit's mother, and she was up in the clouds, cooking up the most delicious foods you could think of. Oh my goodness. I wonder, what's your favourite food, I wonder? You could type it below. So what's your favourite food, I wonder? You could type it below. Now, my favourite dinner food is, I love tofu, and I really like it when it's salt and chili. I like salt and chili tofu, and it's nice and spicy, and I love putting it on top of my salad or in my noodles, or oh my goodness, and everything. It's really tasty. And my favourite dessert is apple pie. Oh my goodness, could you imagine if Rabbit had cooked this lovely tofu and this lovely apple pie? Oh my goodness. And Imi's favourite is pasta. Oh, pasta's amazing. Oh, that sounds delicious. I wonder what kind of sauce you have on your pasta. And so lots of pasta. Can you imagine? She cooked up the biggest pot of pasta you could imagine. Imi is really big, and it's put in a big pot, and then she puts it in a nice bowl in front of you. Oh my goodness. And all that cabbage and lettuce and leafy greens for Tortoise. There was so much food. It was, oh my goodness, it looked delicious. Rabbit introduced Tortoise to his mother and said, "This is Tortoise, and he's very hungry, so I asked him if he could have dinner with us today." The mother smiled and said, "Oh, there is plenty. Come and sit at the table, Tortoise, and have some food." Now, remember I said Tortoise was a little bit cheeky and he was a little bit greedy. So what he did was he took lots and lots of the food. He shoveled it down, and he was eating until his tummy was getting bigger and bigger. And Rabbit said, "Oh, slow down, Tortoise, because if you eat too much, you'll get so heavy you won't be able to come back down the rope." Oh, I'm fine," said Tortoise. "Oh, this is delicious." And he kept eating more and more. He scooped up lots and lots of big spoons of pasta. He shoveled down cabbage and leafy greens. He ate lots and lots of lettuce, and he shoveled down my favourite apple pie. He was stuffed, so full. Oh my goodness, he could barely move. When Rabbit said, "I think it's time to go," they thanked Rabbit's mother and climbed down the rope. Rabbit stopped halfway and said, "Tortoise, did you take any food for your family?" "No," said Tortoise. "I am too full and too heavy to be carrying lots of food as well. Oh, if I was carrying food, I would surely fall down this rope. My family will be fine." Rabbit thought this was a little bit suspicious. It was a little bit strange, because Tortoise had said that his family were hungry too. And it's true. Tortoise's family was hungry. And when Tortoise came back to his family, he said, "Oh, I couldn't find any food, and I'm going to go to bed." And he slept for a really long time, 12 hours, because he was so full of food. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? He was stuffed. Well, the next day, Tortoise woke up and he decided he was still, really hungry. And he thought to himself, aha, I will go to the clearing and I'll go to where the pond is and I will get myself some food from Rabbit's mother. He rubbed his hands together and he started making his way through the forest to the clearing with the pond. And he thought very hard and he remembered that song. And he cleared his throat and he sung. Ya ya takun wele o illusion jan kijan. Ya ya takun wele o illusion jan kijan. Well, his voice sounded very different. It was a lot deeper and a little bit more gravelly. And this made Rabbit's mother in the clouds a little bit suspicious. Who is that calling? She thought. That doesn't sound like my son Rabbit. Well, Tortoise had already started thinking of a lie when his mother, Rabbit's mother, already had decided. Perhaps you have a cold. I'll let down the rope anyway. Come up, my son. And she let down that long, big rope, and Tortoise began to climb up the rope. Now, as Tortoise climbed, he was about halfway through when all of a sudden, hey! Stop right there! Come back down! It was Rabbit, and he was very, very angry. He looked very crossly at Tortoise up the rope and said, "What are you doing? Mother! Mother! Cut down the rope! It's not me!" But his mother couldn't hear him underneath the clouds, and Tortoise carried on climbing as quickly as he could. "Mother! Stop! Cut the rope!" And then Rabbit realised he needed to sing his song. And so he did. He sung his song, and he sung it in his beautiful voice, which I will not inflict on you again. And this time, well, Mother decided, that sounded like my son. So who was the first voice who was climbing up? And she looked through the clouds and she saw Tortoise's face getting closer and closer, and he was licking his lips because he was so hungry and he was already imagining all that delicious food. And then she saw further down Rabbit down by the pond, and he shouted up, "Mother, cut the rope! Cut the rope!" And so she ran to her kitchen and she started looking for something to cut the rope with. I wonder, what could she cut the rope with? Perhaps you could type below. What could she cut the rope with? Trying to think. First, she opened up her drawer and she got a spoon. I don't think a spoon is going to cut the rope very well. No. And then she got out a spatula. Aha! Oh no, a spatula won't work, will it? That's better for swatting flies or maybe cooking some burgers. What could she use to cut the rope, I wonder? Well, she looked around, and aha! There she found, exactly right, Immy, she found a pair of scissors. Scissors will be perfect, she said, and she took the scissors to the rope and started to snip away. Now this rope was very strong, so she had to really work at it, and she kept cutting and cutting until Tortoise was hanging on by one thread. "Please, I just want to eat your food," said Tortoise. But then, snip. Ooh! Plop. Tortoise tumbled through the air and landed on the rocks with a crack. Oh! Ooh! Ow! Ooh! Tortoise stood up and his head, oh, he was so dizzy from all that falling. And when he looked at his shell, it was no longer round and smooth. It was all bumpy, where he'd gone splat on his back. And that was how Tortoise got his crooked back. And every time people saw him, they reminded him, that crooked back is because you were too cheeky. You should have been more honest. And that is our story today. I wonder, when I was looking at this story and I was thinking about it, I was thinking, it's true that Tortoise was a little bit cheeky, wasn't he? Because he shouldn't have tricked anyone to get food. But at the same time, he was really hungry. So I wonder what he could have done instead. Maybe that's something you could think of too, is what could he have done instead? But that is our story today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now, that was a story from Nigeria, and the song that I sung is a traditional folk song, which is from the Yoruba. So I will make sure that I post the link to the original song, and you can check that out, and I will put in some information as well about the Yoruba stories and stuff in Nigeria, so that you can check that out and learn a little bit more. Yeah, and that is it for this week. So next week, again, I don't know what story I'm going to tell yet, so I will announce that through the week, what my plan is. I will start concocting a plan as well, and I hope you have a really good one. I hope that you enjoy the sun, because the sun's back out, and I will see you again next week. I'm going to stop the video now. Bye!